ideal place to videotape, but I had an interesting experience, and I don't think this is going to be a full-on thing, but I want to document it so I remember. I was talking to a friend of mine at dinner, and she's been stuck in a cycle. She's like energetically stuck to an ex who has hurt her many times, who has proven himself unreliable. It's an unhealthy attachment. And as she was explaining and almost justifying the situation, what's interesting is she's very spiritually awake and aligned, reads all the books, does all the work, and has been looking for a revelation. She was talking about trying to get an appointment with a hypnotist, and she feels energetically stuck. And she was talking about how, she's a working professional. She does well for herself, but she wants to quit smoking weed. And obviously, I'm good at quitting everything. So she was asking me, and I said, you just need to go 3 weeks. But what I realized is when I was doing those things, whether you're drinking, whether you're smoking weed, whether you're taking Tylenol, like whatever you're doing that changes your vibration, you are energetically leaking. So you want to manifest things in the world, you want your life to change, you want whatever, and I compared it to a video game. Excuse me, I'm a nerd. So, like if you are playing a game and you level up, you get experience, and then you level up, you're at a new level, and you start from no experience. And then every time that your mana bar, your energy level gets high, you reset it by drinking, by negatively affecting your body. Your body, I believe, is the temple of God. It's not the Vatican, it's not a building. The temple of God that God built is your body. Like the human body is what contains God, in my opinion. Now, when you do things like have sex with multiple people, when you do drugs, when you drink, when you have a lot of sugar, when you don't treat your body right, you're doing it to God, essentially. You're disrespecting God's temple. That's how I see it, or I phrase it. So when you think of it this way, I was like, quit it, and then see if energetically you notice a difference. Like you see that your ability to manifest things changes, your ability to get things that you want done, your ability to whatever. And if you see the change, then it's easy to make those changes permanent. It's easy, like I don't have cravings for things. Whether it's sugar, it's like you name it, I just don't have it. And my entire life, I only drank soda. I didn't have a glass of water until I was in my mid-30s. Just sodas, energy drinks, whatever. And then, obviously, cleaning my body gave me a whole different perspective on life. So she's telling me about the problems, and I'm saying like this is what I did and this is how I see it. And when you actually see the difference for yourself, like if your body contains energy, and when you do these things you leak the energy, you put a hole at the bottom of this bucket. It doesn't matter how well you're doing with everything else, there's a hole in your bucket. It doesn't matter that she's saving animals and adopting animals. It doesn't matter that she's doing charity work or doing well at work. You're doing something to leak your energy, so that mana bar gets stuck or resets. Depends on what you're doing, I suppose. So that's why she feels stuck, is she is stuck. Now, as we were talking, she said she was talking about a connection to an ex-boyfriend, and the ex-boyfriend, the connection is very unhealthy. So he's like travels the world. He's probably cheated on her. I don't know the story. And then comes back, and then she's putty in his arms. So she was telling me about it, and then how new guys come and try to get her attention, and she's not interested. She has the connection with the old guy. She's thinking that it's the old guy that she needs to be with, or the old guy that is right for her energetically. And then we were talking, and she realized this, that usually what we seek out in a partner, especially if it's unhealthy, is the feeling we had when we were kids. So in the house that you grew up in, if you felt abandoned, if you felt unseen, if you felt scared, if whatever that anxiety that you had, you confuse with love, and you are destined, Carl Jung says this, you're destined to repeat it. Your subconscious mind will create your childhood in your adulthood. I compare it to, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, I compare it to drinking a poison over and over again to get an immunity to that poison. So it eventually will lead to, if it doesn't destroy you, will lead to a spiritual awakening, a change. You need to realize that you're in a cycle in order to break the cycle. So she realized, like mid-conversation, I think, she probably already knew, like your subconscious mind knows what's happening anyways. I heard your subconscious mind absorbs 40,000 times more information per day than your conscious mind. And mine is overactive because I'm very observant. I'm looking around constantly, like the white of my eyes is still pupil. I see everything. I can see behind me. It's really annoying. So as we're talking, and she's saying like, yeah, he's coming to visit and he's gonna expect to stay with me and stuff like this. And I'm like listening to her, and she's like, yeah, and I'm gonna say no. And then I was thinking of telling him, like, I'm dating someone. And she's cracked a smile, and then corrected herself and move on, and talked about how she's gonna stand her ground this time. And then I was like, did you realize I just caught you? You smiled. You're excited to tell him that you're dating someone, so he tries harder. And then she gets stuck in that cycle or whatever. So like, usually with women, there's it's the relationship with the dad. With men, it's usually the relationship with the mom. It's not always that case, but you could tell usually, like a father wound. If a girl feels abandoned from a father wound, like they become very either sexually promiscuous, or they become very hyper focused on achieving material wealth or success or status. And I don't necessarily think any of those apply to her, but I know that there is like a father wound. And it's interesting that you confuse anxiety for love. And that is, we all do this. And this is like a huge thing, is I was repeating cycles like crazy. My high school girlfriend I stayed with for 13 years. It was obvious 3 months in it wasn't going to work. It was obvious actually before I dated. I called it out. I told her I didn't want to date her, and then for some reason got energetically stuck, and it was very much mirroring the unhealthy relationship my parents had growing up. My parents, like, they held hands once and I felt uncomfortable. I was like, don't. What are you doing? Yell at each other, that's normal. So it was interesting, and it's like I called it out, and then she's realized, and I was like, you already know the way forward is setting a boundary. Like, you have to block them at some point. If you're not strong enough to say no, there has to be a line in the sand. There has to be a firm line. And I gave an example. The girl that I dated 13 years on and off, this high school girlfriend that I had, I was constantly waiting for her to catch up. I was constantly waiting for her to see her own value, or to grow up, or to heal, or something. I would have never left. I was going to go down with the ship just like my dad. But no matter if my needs got met or not, I was just going to stick with it because I thought I'm supposed to. Now the problem is that she is stuck in a victim mentality, and I'm an empathetic person. I also feel like if I was with someone for so long, I was like, okay, we didn't get married on paper, so I don't owe you money, but what if I can help you? So we're friends technically, there's no romantic interest, but I was like, she's in debt, she doesn't make any money, she's exactly where I left her, and is why I left her. So I was like, I will teach you how to manage money. I'll pay off your debt. I will teach you the things that I've learned and I know, and get you out of the rut you're in. You want to live with your mom forever? You want to, like, you know what I mean? And she's like, how long do I have to think about it? I was like, what is there to think about? Think about it? I was like, okay, look, I'm not going to punish you, but I'm going to block you. And she's like, what if I want to tell you? What if something happens and I want to tell you? It's like, it's not like I don't want to know, and I don't want to punish you. I'm not, like, afraid of something happening, but energetically I can't leave this door open because I'm a single unmarried man. I'm giving energy. I'm allowing that door to be open, and so is she. In some way or another, there's no way that this becomes a thing. But I was willing and able. I was like, I will put as much money into you as it takes for you to find your husband, like, free of charge. Like, I've learned a lot in the last few years. Let me show you, and you can fix your life as well. Like, listen to how I talk. I'm talking about God and stuff. If you showed a video of me now to myself from 5 years ago, I'd be like, this AI is really good. Wow. Which is actually true, coincidentally. But yeah, even this friend that I had dinner with was talking about my change in the last couple of years. And the thing is, I read a lot, I learn a lot, and I'm studying the things that have mattered for change. And how do you curate that? If you're going through a cycle yourself, like if you are this woman and know that you're doing something unhealthy and repeating a cycle or whatever, there's so much out there to learn that you don't know. It's like, where do you start? What books do I read? Do I read Attached by Amir Levine? Do I read, like, Back to Love, or, you know, The Four Agreements? Or there's all these books, and it's like, you know, you're on a spiritual journey, the hero's journey that Plato talked about. We talked about the hero's journey today too. She said she feels like she's an extra in this guy's movie, that she's not living her own story. It's like, that is a great analogy. It's like, when you are not taking charge, and when you're in a cycle, you're unconscious, you are an extra. You're an NPC. You're AI. Like, there's a soul in there, but it's not driving anything. It's just taking a back seat. So I think it's super important to flush this idea out, and maybe I'll come up with something to talk about it at length, if this isn't at length 13 minutes. But I find it so interesting that she's so good with the work, reads the right things, and she knows, but she's not willing to take that step yet. And you know, the reason we're good friends is we have these deep conversations, and it's like, she gets it. We talk about, like, about energy and spirituality and stuff like this. And there's only a few people in my life that I get talked to at eye level that have read the same things, that understand the concepts. But I think it's honestly the most important thing that I've ever learned in my life. You're not taught how to heal yourself. You're not taught how to date, like, or be in a healthy relationship. Nobody teaches these things, and you have to learn it yourself. And some of us are stubborn. It takes a long time to learn, and sometimes even when we learn, we still seek our comfort, go back to old habits, go back to old cycles. It's a permanent full-time job, but there are results. Because if I stop talking to someone romantically, I still feel like I lost something. But because I know that I'm on this path, I know that not everyone's for me. So, like, I'm happy when I meet someone, we try to date, it doesn't work out romantically, and they stay in my life, because it means, like, I met someone I was supposed to meet. And I didn't screw it up because I'm not fucking everybody. I'm just living, you know? And now I get to share thoughts and experiences and grow with people that are on my wavelength without this weird, you know what I mean? John Mulaney made a joke. He said, anyone who's seen my penis and met my parents has to die. They know too much to be out there loose. He was a writer on SNL and a famous coke addict. But I think I'll leave it at that. This is the shortest thing I've ever recorded. I'm pretty sure I turned the audio off, so this won't work. It is raining, and I wanted to do this in my car rather than sitting at home in somehow this dome light is brighter than anything in my house. I refuse to change it. I refuse to make my house more comfortable because I know it's temporary. I just want to get out of it. It's kind of like what she's doing in her relationship. It's like, oh, later. Let me be comfortable right now. Don't make me do work. So that's funny. If I think about more stuff that relates to this, I don't know even what wavelength this is on, but it was such a profound thing. And I was smiling thinking that I was that. I told her I was both her and I was that guy that she's dating. Like, I would know like how to, you know what I mean? Someone moves on and you don't feel good about it, and then you just go fuck it up. And then I would be like, anything I've ever posted on social media was to make an ex jealous. When I had to delete my social media entirely, there's nothing I knew everyone was watching, like who am I dating and all this stuff, and I would deliberately post things that would get under the skin, and then if they came back, I'd be like, thank God I could breathe until the next time I suffocate. It was like there was a 2-week cycle where I'd go this way and that way, this way and that way. So it was a lot of like hard work. I did it the hardest way, honestly. But if I could do it, that means anyone can do it, right? If you don't believe I'm smarter than you, then you should be able to follow my path and surpass me. Please do it. Prove it to both of us. The world will be a much better place, I promise. Really excited for that. Okay, that's it. Good night.